everyone. Welcome to another episode of Women Empowerment Series today with me, Farisha. And I'm really honored and delighted to have a very special guest with me. It's Rosie Chuong. Hi, Rosie. How are you?
Hi, I'm so well.
And it's an honor to have you on my show, on my video podcast series, Women Empowerment Series. And this is where I showcase amazing and wonderful ladies. So, Rosie, can you share with us more about yourself?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm Rosie Chuong, and I am the founder of API Curls. API meaning Asian and Pacific Islander. So Asian and Pacific Islander Curls. It is an online platform and an offline movement of basically empowering a community of women and individuals who have naturally curly hair, who want to embrace their natural hair patterns and textures and just live beyond the straight hair standard. So we're basically challenging outdated narratives of what it means to be beautiful, especially when it comes to different forms of Asian or Pacific Islander beauty. Like, what does it mean to be beautiful within that context? But what is that like moving forward? So, and in addition to API Curls, I also have my own personal brand and platform. And again, like I'm very passionate about sharing my curly hair journey experiences and what it's like to live as an Asian woman with curly hair. And my tagline for my brand is curls, confidence, and career. So I definitely feel all of this really encapsulates everything that we'd like to accomplish with API Curls.
Okay, and what is the most challenging moment in your career? How do you overcome it? How do you overcome the most challenging moment?
Ooh, that's a really great question. So, in addition to API Curls, I'm also a branding and communications consultant. So, I'll answer that question in a couple of different scenarios. So, as a branding and communications consultant, let me just talk a little bit more about my career. So, I went to school to study communications and entertainment studies. As a young child, was always very fascinated with the entertainment industry. I live in America, by the way, and in Southern California, when you think about like Los Angeles, Hollywood is the epitome of what we think about when it comes to like American pop culture and music and movies and different forms of entertainment. So I really wanted to pursue that industry. When I graduated college, I actually went into the nonprofit industry, which really wasn't too crazy of a scenario because as a child, I was always involved with the community. I really love student leadership. So it was really natural for me to go into the nonprofit industry. So, in terms of a challenge that I faced, that I still believe is something that a woman like me would still be facing today, is as a woman of color, especially as an Asian woman, it is hard to climb up the ladder and go to the top. So, to be very honest with you, I don't see a lot of women of color, women who look like me, who are in a director or like chief executive leadership roles. It just you just don't see a lot of people of color in those particular roles. And the more specific that we get, for example, seeing Asian people within these particular leadership roles, I don't see a lot of it unless we're specifically talking about organizations that are specifically addressing the needs of the Asian American community or Asian communities. So I that has been a challenge just because I realized that maybe within the particular environment or the particular work model that I was working within, those constructs probably were never going to benefit me. Maybe they weren't really going to work for me. And eventually I decided that I wanted to become self employed and explore what that route might mean for me. And I've been self employed, I've been a business owner for the last 3 years. And I've loved that and enjoyed that so much more. I make the rules. So for me to set my own goals and be able to always achieve them is a success. I honestly believe I never would have been able to see or have, or like not as easily see within the constructs of working for an employer. That's one of the biggest challenges.
Okay, the next question. Who are the most inspiring woman leaders, woman figures that you admire?
I would definitely say, so let's get really, I'm going to get really personal about the people that really inspire me. So in terms of women, I would say I have my oldest sister, Quinn. She, every day, like she is my day one. And I have a really big family, by the way. So Quinn in particular, her and I just have a very special relationship. It's one of those relationships where, like, you think about siblings who are really close to each other, who truly feel like family, who are best friends. That is my relationship that I have with my sister Quinn, and I cannot imagine a day without her. I actually started working with her, or like started working in an office with her recently, and I just remember last October. Um, we got this office together, and we had a picture taken for us because we were doing a Halloween door decoration contest in our building space. We work
I
at a
love
co-working space. And we
Halloween,
have,
so I miss Halloween.
yeah.
I
We have a
love to
we have a
dress
private
up in
hobby, and
costumes.
we're both like really creative people. So we were definitely one of the top contenders for the decorating contest, and we had our picture taken. And when every time I look at that photo, I think, wow, I prayed for this moment for a really long time, to really be in a position where I could work with her, I could be beside her, and I could support her the same way that she always supports me. So my sister Quinn is a very important person to me in my life. She is truly like my mother. Another person that's really important to me, and she had passed about almost 2 years ago, is my mentor, Jessica Ishikawa. And she is the person that actually hired me for my first job in a nonprofit. And she's pretty much taught me so many skills and tricks of the trade in terms of, like, what I do for work, what I do for my clients, how I serve them, all my tricks and my insight and my experiences. A lot of it came from her. So I know that every day when I am able to serve my clients, when I'm able to do things that I want to do in regards to my life work, part of it is because Jessica was there to groom me into that person. I'm trying to think of another person that I want to give a shout out to. There are just so many amazing women in my life. I've been very lucky to have had like, in every stage of my life, I've had a woman who has been there to, like, really push me. And I know that that's not always the case for a lot of other people, but I have certainly been very blessed with that type of life. And I would say another person that's just very inspirational to me would be my best friend, Daisy, who I recently realized that we are um, super compatible in terms of our zodiac signs. So then I realized, oh, okay, that's why we get along the way that we do. We balance each other out. So that's been a really funny and interesting thing to, like, learn about each other. But she is definitely, as a person, has been someone who has seen me at my worst and has really walked me through becoming a better person. And I think that we all need someone who is really there for you during the really, really tough times, the times when you're not the prettiest person in the world. Someone who's just going to really love you through all of those hard times, and believe that, like, you can come out of tough times being that better person. And she has been that person for me ever since I've met her in high school.
Okay, and the next question, what does woman empowerment means to you?
To me, women empowerment is really about giving women the tools, the resources, and the support that they need to be successful in life. It's really about believing in them and investing in women. So the way that I would practice women empowerment in my daily life is in terms of like the content that I create for my personal brand and my professional brand, API Curls, I we I always try to come from a place of how do we really uplift the person from the content that we're creating and the content that we're sharing. Everybody has their own different styles of like the mood and the tone and the emotions that they want people to feel as they consume certain pieces of content. I don't necessarily want people to feel angry or triggered through my content. I want them to feel like, API Curls is a safe space to really explore yourself and to discover your true identity. Because for a long time,
yeah,
for a long time, a lot of women have been told that they need to straighten their hair, or like if it's frizzy, it's not beautiful. If it's curly, it's not beautiful. API Curls is a space where you don't have to hear those things, and you are given a community of people, access to a community of people who can help you accomplish building that sense of self-confidence through exploring your identity through your hair. So for me, yeah, women empowerment is really about giving individuals like the tools and the resources and the support that they need to be successful in life.
Okay, Rosie, we come to the last question. This is the last and final question for the video podcast series. What is your advice to the Gen Z, to the millennials today?
My advice for like the Gen Z and the millennials, or just the younger generation in general, would be, man, there's so much advice that I can give, but I would say one of the things that is true about the younger generation now is we are always on, and we're so connected to each other through devices and through social media. Social media and the internet, it has a wealth of information. Sometimes, hopefully we are using these devices and these tools and these mediums and this content to uplift and inspire people. That's not always the case. Some people create to destroy. So, my advice is, as much as you want to be on and brain turned on all the time, I know that that is the culture that we're brought up in. I know that that's just part of our society and our environment now, but it's okay to take a break from all of that. If you want to change the world, when we're talking about social impact, the devices and technology and social media is now so intertwined in the concept of being successful with social impact. But just remember that you can step away from social media for a little bit if that is what's going to be helpful for your mental health and your mental well-being. Because when we're constantly always exposed to news that's really hard to take in. And I commend anybody who is always on top of the news, always on top of what's going on in the world, knowing that there are a lot of hard things that are happening in this world. It's really important that they know that they can step away from that whenever they feel like they need to.
That is a really good message and advice, Rosie. And I really agree with you, because like there's so much information, like information overload, a lot of things on social media. And for the younger generation, for the Gen Z, it's how you use the social media and put it into good use. Okay, and we've come to the end of the video podcast for Women Empowerment Series. Thank you so much, Rosie, for sharing your views and your insight. And for those of you who are watching a Women Empowerment Series video podcast, I hope that you are inspired and also motivated by the sharing by Rosie just now. And Rosie, okay, if we have our viewers here who would like to follow you, what is your Facebook, Instagram, and also LinkedIn and YouTube so that they can follow on API Curls, what you're doing and your updates? Can you share with us your social media handles?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for asking. So, for API Curls, it is we're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. I think it's really important to be on Pinterest when we're talking about like how do we see representation of ourselves and what platforms gives us the best sense of representation. So if you're on Pinterest and you're trying to create a board of beautiful people with naturally curly hair, we're on Pinterest. So for that, we're also on YouTube. So you can look up at API Curls. And then for my personal brand, it's just at Rosie Chuong on the same platforms as well. So if you want to visit our website and if you feel compelled to share your story and just be part of the API Curls community, you can visit our website at www.apicurls.com.
Thank you so much, Rosie. Thank you for the sharing just now. And for those of you who would like to follow Rosie, make sure that you follow her on her Instagram and also YouTube channel, and also browse through her website. Till then, stay safe, take care, bye.